Hello everyone, I'm Ranjan Singh, Faculty of History at ALSIS, and today I'm going to start with a new video series which is very important for all those aspirants who have history as an optional. In this video series, we are going to decode the syllabus of UPSC, or you can say history optional in UPSC, through the analysis of your previous year questions. The trend, the PYQ trend. Through this PYQ trend, we are going to analyze that what part of your syllabus is the most important part and which need to be covered more holistically and can fetch you good marks in your examination. Okay, so this series starts with the first chapter of your ancient India. Today we are going to analyze the previous year trend of the first chapter of ancient India, paper 1, that is your sources. So let's see that and see from which section of your syllabus UPSC repeatedly asks questions and which you need to cover more elaborately and have higher chances of being repeated in this examination. So let's start with this PYQ trend analysis of your sources chapter. This sources includes archaeological sources and literary sources. In your syllabus it's given archaeology and literary. In archaeological sources there are different subdivisions which we need to cover. Your UPSC syllabus says that you need to cover excavation, exploration, monuments and all of that is covered under this field archaeology. But till date UPSC has not asked any question from this field archaeology. Okay, the second subsection, that is the inscriptions is very important section of your archaeological sources, because we can see over here that UPSC has asked questions twice from this subsection of inscription. One was in 2017 and other was in 2007, 10 years back. Inscriptions, if you know, inscriptions are anything which is written on the solid surface, okay? And the study of inscription is called as epigraphy. I hope ये एक basic idea है which those who have studied history as an optional have this knowledge. Otherwise, other aspirants will know. This is the basic thing. So inscriptions, and what does inscriptions tells us about the political history, social history, economic history, cultural history, all of that we need to cover, because UPSC has already asked a question from this twice inscriptions. Then comes the third one, that is your subsection under your archaeological sources, coins. UPSC has asked once, that is in 2007, वो inscription and coins combined था वो question, and therefore we need to cover this topic also. So also in a sense ki more holistically. So what does coins tells us about the political history, economic history, social and cultural history, especially the cultural history about the religion, religious practices, the coins of Indo-Greeks primarily. So all of that, Indo-Greeks and Guptas also. So all of that becomes very important for our exam, and yes, we will cover it. We need to do that. So coins, and the study of coins is called as numismatics. So this topic is again very important. We have one more emerging field, and that is your ethno-archaeology. Although UPSC has not asked any question yet, but yes, we do have a chance that UPSC might ask question from this section. So if you analyze the previous year from archaeological section or archaeological sources, you will find that inscriptions and coins becomes the most important section from here, which you need to cover more holistically, and this section should be on your tips. You should prepare a very good answer for this section, okay, so that if you get a question again, you will be able to write a very decent answer and good answer for which you can expect, for which you will get you can say more marks in comparison to other aspirants. Next, the second thing after archaeological sources is your literary sources. You can see sources में दूसरा literary sources है. literary sources में we have religious text, scientific text, all of that is there. If you analyze the previous year question, then you find that primarily the questions are coming from religious text, and उसमें भी किस तरीके के questions आए हैं, let's see that. We have question from Shruti literature, that is Vedas. Shruti literature, the Shruti means that is heard, the thing which has been heard, which has been said by God and heard by the sages, rishis. So those literature includes your Vedas only, including your Vedanta or Upanishad. Okay. So what the four Vedas, including Upanishads, tells us about the political, economic, social, as well as the religious practices of your Vedic period, we need to know. So Shruti literature, UPSC has already asked, 2015 में पूछा है, फिर से हमें इसे अच्छे से करना है. It's a more probability of getting repeated. But if you see the Brahminical religious text, it's not only Shruti. It consists of not only Shruti, but we also have second category of Brahminical text that is called as Smriti literature. Smriti literature, which includes, you can see this Smriti literature, which includes your Puranas, your Dharma Shastras, your epics, all of that is part of your Smriti literature. And UPSC has asked question from this section repeatedly. You can see 3 years, 2020 में, 2016 में, 2013 में. It's in recent past. So अभी new trend में you can get question from your Smriti tradition. UPSC has primarily focused on Puranas. Puranas से बहुत सारे question पूछे गए हैं. It might be probable, it might be possible that in next year you get a question from Dharma Shastras or even epics. Okay, these are normative text हैं ये. These are not descriptive text. So you can expect a term like the normative text of your normative Brahminical text, how far they are a prominent source of your ancient India. Like this you can expect a question. So this section is again very, very important for your exam. Among this literary sources, among other religious texts, we have Buddhist and Jain literatures. UPSC has not asked any question from this section, so we will cover it briefly. एक overview हमें होना चाहिए कि what does these Buddhist and Jain text tells us about the political, social, economic and cultural history of that period. And also with examples, we need to remember some names of these literatures. Okay, got it? And the fourth subsection of this literary sources is foreign accounts. Foreign accounts again becomes very, very important. Foreign accounts का मतलब क्या होता है? The accounts which is written by the foreigners who have visited India or who have even if not visited have learnt about India from different sources. So these are foreign accounts, or in accounts these accounts can be classified into 3 subcategory, which UPSC has also done for you. It has asked you to cover the Greek accounts, then it's asked to cover the Chinese accounts, and then the Chinese monks who have visited like Huan Sang, then Itsing, Faiyan, all of them, and at last the Arab accounts. So ये 3 foreign accounts हैं, categories हैं which you need to cover for your exam, and UPSC has asked question from this foreign account subsection, that is in 2022, 2014 and 2009. So yes, it becomes a very important section for your examination, upcoming examination. Now next one after this, ये तो हमने sources देख लें, the sources, your archaeological sources and literary sources. It's a direct thing कि from this source you need to cover A, B, C, D aspect of your social, economic, political and cultural aspect जो हमें पता चलता है from these sources. But if you look at the PYQ, we found that there are certain other dimensions which we need to cover from this chapter. First and the foremost is comparison of these sources. It's not like we need to just know what a specific source tells us about the social, political, economic and cultural history of India. But at the same time, we need to compare the archaeological and literary sources and then try to decode the complete history of your ancient India. And that is what the scholars also say or tells us to do. The scholars believe in the idea of combined method of Indology. है ना, एक combined method of Indology होता है, and in that combined method of Indology we try to decode our past by supplementing and complementing one source with another. सिर्फ एक सोर्स से, by reading, by studying only one source, may it be your inscription only or coins only or any of your literatures only, it is very tough to decode the complete you can say aspects of our history. And therefore scholars also say that we should follow the method of combined method of Indology. D.D. Kaushambi, he believes in this and he have talked about this in detail. So combined method of Indology, और वहां पे भी वो comparison भी दिख रहा है हमें कि how one is supplementing the other and which one is better, in which case, all of that we need to see. So UPSC has asked a question from this comparison, that is between archaeological and your literary sources, that was in 2019. So one more thing which we need to cover over here. फिर इसी चैप्टर से हमें एक और चीज मिली. We got one more feature, and that is your historical traditions. What do you mean by this historical tradition? It is the way in which we record our past. The way in which we have recorded our past, we have written our past. The Europeans, the Indologists, when they came to India and wrote about India, they said that the Indians lacked the sense of historiography, history writing. But the Indian scholars, they argued that it's not completely true. Although we lacked the Western style of historiography, scientific approach of history writing, but at the same time, from ancient period, we have some embedded methods or embedded forms in which we have recorded our history. Say, for example, the Bardic tradition, the Itihas Purana tradition, all of that is your historical traditions, which was used by the people who have lived in ancient period to record their past. And that is what we need to study, historical tradition. And UPSC has asked question twice from this section. Historical tradition से अगर देखोगे तो 2018 में भी पूछा है and 1996. Very important section. So, and this is not given in your syllabus. Historical tradition आपका, you won't find it specifically mentioned in your syllabus. But yes, we need to study it because PYQ में पूछा गया है, and there is high probability that we can again expect any question from historical tradition. Understand? And the last section is the different approaches to study the early Indian history. Approaches can be categorized into 4 major approach. सबसे पहला, Indologists, the Europeans, when the Britishers came to India, which approach they followed to study the Indian history. Then the second one is nationalist approach, the third one Marxist approach, and the fourth one, which is very new, you can say, and that is your subaltern school of your historiography. That is the new approach of studying history. So these approaches also becomes one thing which we need to study, which is again not mentioned in your syllabus, but since UPSC has asked a question, we need to cover it comprehensively. With this, the chapter of your sources is completed. So you can see, by following this method, that is decoding the syllabus through PYQ analysis, it is one of the smartest way, you can say, of preparing for your examination. And this is what we are going to do in ALS. This is what we are going to do on a regular basis through a series of lectures. Okay, thank you and all the best.